the righteousness of God. 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 The righteousness of God.
Welcome back, everybody. We just want to check before we get started. Can you hear us? Can you see us? Yay! Awesome. Thank you so much.
Archibald, what's going on here?
Anna, just the manna I wanted to see. Remind me, what is your favorite type of soda?
Orange? Why do you ask?
That's what I thought. Here, I want you to try this.
Sure, I'll give it a try. Wow, this is amazing. Archibald, you could sell this stuff and make a fortune.
Just you wait. Orange is just the beginning. Try this one.
Is that banana? You really got something special here.
Try all of these.
Cherry, pineapple, grape, apple. Wow, these are all good fruit-flavored sodas.
Now, try this one.
These have all been awesome so far. I'm sure this one is root beer? Ugh, what is that? That's disgusting.
What do you think?
Like I said, disgusting.
That's dog food soda.
What?
That's right, dog food soda.
Gross. That taste lasts so long. Why would you make a soda that flavor?
Well, my friend, people who have dogs have to spend all day feeding the dogs, giving them water, feed them, giving them water, feed them, giving them water.
Let me guess, you think feeding them and giving them water takes a lot of time?
Precisely! And so, I decided to help make the process easier. All the nutrients of dog food, plus the water, all mixed together, takes 2 steps and makes it into one.
Well, I still think it's disgusting.
You're the only one that hasn't liked it so far.
What? Who likes that stuff?
Love, Blue, Rascal, Penny, Edelman.
Wait, those are all dog names, right?
Correct once again, Anna. Anyways, I'm sorry for making you upset. Here, let me make it up to you. Try this. I promise you'll like it.
I don't know why I do this to myself. That's it. That's disgusting. I am done tasting the things you make.
But Anna, I thought you loved Thanksgiving dinner.
I do, but not in soda form. That was a meaty, potatoey concoction that I never want to taste again. Stick to fruit flavors, Archibald.
That's it. I think I forgot the pumpkin pie. Anyways, will you dance with me?
Sure.
Let's get up. We're going to dance the song from yesterday.
no sin to be sin for us. God had no sin, to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God, 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 the righteousness of God. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God, 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 the righteousness of God.
Thank you all so much for dancing with us. So yesterday, we talked about faith. We learned, you guys did a science experiment with Eyedropper Debbie and Cylinder Sue with your egg drop. I heard some of them made it and some of them didn't. But that's okay, because you can always try it again. Then you got to meet Noah, and I'm pretty sure he built a boat that was called an ark. And it was insane because he didn't even live near any water, but it helped him and his family to survive the flood. And then Syringe Sarah used a pencil, an egg, and some jam, and only the pencil floated in sink or float. And our Bible verse is, God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God, from 2 Corinthians 5:21. We also asked you last night to send us in some God sightings, different ways that you see God over the night and throughout the day. We really appreciate, we got a couple sent in. Out there, some people saw a double rainbow, some people saw fireflies, some people had an amazing sunset, and some people helped out their siblings. Good job. So what we're going to do, Anastasia and I, we're going to put my pom-poms, I called them cotton balls, they're pom-poms, they're so colorful, onto my beaker flask. We'll have to glue those on. But thank you for sending those in, and please continue to send them in to FCCOE-VBS2020@gmail.com so we can continue to share them. Today, we're talking about Almighty, the almighty power of God. Though I cannot see God, I see his power at work. The Bible teaches us, for since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. God is so mighty and powerful, it's amazing. Just like if you think of wind, we don't see wind, but we sure can feel it And I'm grateful to feel these breezes of this fan and the trees from outside on these hot days. Sometimes wind is really powerful in a storm, and it might blow down power lines, or a branch might fall and cause some damage. There are some other types of storms that are powerful. Do you know any, Anna?
Hurricanes?
Hurricanes, even up here. Oh, I hear you can't see us anymore. These are the technical problems. That would be... Do we have the standby symbol? Oh, no. We apologize for our technical difficulties and minor delay. Output to, okay, hold on.
God made him who had no sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. The righteousness of God.
Thank you for standing by while we figured out our technical difficulties in our science lab up here. So storms like blizzards up here in the Northeast or hurricanes are super powerful, but nothing is as powerful as God. Jesus had the power to speak words that calmed the storms. So if you guys are near a window, we have many in the sanctuary, I can look out and I see some wind. You see the trees moving, Anna?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so can you see God?
No.
But do you see what God does?
Yeah, I do.
Just like our God sightings that we just shared. We can't see God, but we can see what God does. God is almighty. We know this by what God has created, because he created the whole world, and by what he has done. Today's Bible verse comes from John chapter 3, verses 8, and it's the wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. I'm just moving some things around, but if you can stand up, we're going to teach you today's song. All right. It's a bit more complicated than yesterday, so just bear with us a bit. It's now faith is confidence, and then we repeat that. Now faith is confidence, and it's in what we hope for. Then we repeat the whole thing, and we go, and assurance about, nice thumbs up, what we do not see. Can't see ya. Then we repeat that. Then we just do some clapping to spell H-E-B-R-E-W-S. And then just like our Bible verse, although I cannot see the wind, blow some wind around, I see what it does. Nice question. And this is 11 verse 1. And then we're going to do, though I can't see God, it's a nice little God symbol this week, I see what he does, 11 verse 1. And we do that a lot. 11 and then 1. You think they got it?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1.
Thank you guys so much. That's so much fun. So, as we go on with tonight, I just want to remind you about a few things, as we've also had some technical difficulties already. You know, we can't quite see you, but hopefully you can see us and hear us. Please let us know if at any point you cannot see us or hear us. And it's awesome, you do get to see each other. We have people in the chat and on the comments when this is posted to Facebook. If you have any questions, concerns, you can post them there and we will be very responsive to that. And we're going to play today's song in between each station and setup, so you have plenty of time to get your supplies, get situated, clean up, as well as maybe go to the bathroom or get a drink to stay cool and hydrated. My notes just got totally mixed up. So I think I'm just going to go over today's schedule, which is the same as last night's schedule. We start with our science experiments with Eyedropper Debbie and Cylinder Sue. Then we have the Bible Adventure with Volumetric Vicky. And then we have Sink or Float with 3 different items with Syringe Sarah. And then Anesthesia and I will be back to wrap you up again at the end of the night.
No sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. 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 God made him who had no sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. Righteousness of God. The 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 righteousness of God.
We're ready. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I'm Susan, and this is Debbie, and this is our Faith at Home lab. Well, we're curious. How did your experiment go yesterday? How about Leah and Gwendolyn? Are you out there today? How did your experiment go? What did you name your egg? How about Jaden and Jeremiah? Did you name your eggs? How about Raylan and Myra? Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Did your eggs survive? We'd love to find out. Send us some messages in the chat and let us know how your egg did and whether or not you liked the experiment. Okay, today, my young engineers, we are going to be building a tower. A big tower in your living room, or a big tower in your kitchen, or in your den, or wherever you may be. So people have been building towers since the ancient times. Think about the pyramids or the Tower of Babel. There are 3 main purposes for building a tower. Number 1, people built towers so they could see long distances. Long ago, that was really helpful if you could see enemies approaching. Number 2, towers are built to call out something, to call attention to something. There's probably a tower that you're used to seeing around here, and those are lighthouses. Lighthouses are built so that boaters can see the coastline, or they can see maybe a bunch of rocks out in the ocean. Number 3, there's a third reason why towers are built. And this one's my favorite. They're works of art. They're beautiful to see. One of the most famous towers is the Eiffel Tower. And our video man, Mr. Bell, is going to put up a picture of the Eiffel Tower if you've never seen it before.
So in order to make that tower strong, the tower will have a wide base. And it'll be nice and strong, and it'll help keep it steady. Just like the Eiffel Tower has a nice big base to it, and also the Great Pyramids. So actually, the one we're making today is going to be sort of like the pyramid. Today you'll be designing your tower with spaghetti and marshmallows. So
Wait a minute. What kind of tower is that going to be?
Well, it's going to be homemade. And I don't think you want to have spaghetti and marshmallows for dinner.
No,
Although maybe you might.
maybe just marshmallows.
So I put some marshmallows in a cup for Susan and some in a cup for me. And what you're going to do is you're going to start by you can also sprinkle them on your table. We're going to start with some spaghetti strings. I don't know if you can hear me. Whoops, I broke one already.
That's okay, Debbie. We've got plenty.
Oh, thank goodness. We'll put that one aside because it's not the same size. So first thing you're going to do is build a square. So grab some marshmallows and a spaghetti string. And just start by putting marshmallows on your ends of your spaghetti string. 1, ta-da. And we're going to add spaghetti strings again to each of those marshmallows. So we're going to make our square. And I'm not sure if you can see, but we've got so far. And just push the spaghetti right through the marshmallow, but keep it on the end. And when you have your square done, we'll give you a second. So Susan and I have 2 squares, so we need to make 2 more. So put those aside. I'll put these down.
It's okay to ask for help if you need it.
Yes. So we are going to be making cubic triangles.
Can you say that again?
Dimensional cubic triangles.
That sounds like an engineering term.
Yes, it does to me too. Okay, almost done. We'll give you a minute in case you're doing this on your own.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, he said they need some little extra help.
Okay. So because there's 2 of us doing it, so we have 4 squares so far. No dimensions yet, but they'll come. So almost done.
Nice.
There we go.
We'll just pause for a minute so you can catch up.
Okay. So we'll get some more. Susan needs more spaghetti strings anyway, if I can get them out without breaking too many. There you go.
Sounds like we have some good engineers on our hands.
Good job, you guys. It's a good start. All right. Don't forget to sample your marshmallows every once in a while. You might need the energy. Or you can throw them at your friend.
Ours are very sticky. Where'd that other one go?
We'll find it.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
How are we looking? Still building. Okay. Melting like the marshmallow.
I know. Good thing we don't have to wear a mask the whole time.
I can't.
Hope nobody says anything about being close, during.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll move on. What's our next step, Deb?
Okay, so we're going to take more spaghetti strands, ones that aren't broken, and you're going to put them in one of the corners. And then grab another marshmallow and add it to that end. So you can get help if you need it. So while still holding that, you need to grab another spaghetti strand, put it in another corner. So we have two corners, and we're going to attach it in the middle. Or you can go from edge to edge, doesn't matter. Either way, as long as you go, you're going to end up having all four corners attached to the center top. Can you see? Right now I've got 3 and it's on its own. And Susan has 3. And then the final top to the center. And we have 2 of them done.
And that is a cubic triangle.
There you go. So we'll put these back here. So, whoops, sorry, Susan.
That's okay.
And it's a little warm, so the marshmallows are a little soft. Suppose we could have tried to dry them out. Okay. And take your time. If you need to re-stick them, that's okay. So we're going to do the other 4 corners for the other 2. Whoops. And corner to center. And corner to center. No tower yet. Just have 4 cubic triangles so far. Well, are we going to make this tower?
Well, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Oh, Now, how do you think we can build this up? Will it work if that doesn't work like that?
I don't think it would stand tip to tip.
No. I wonder if they would hold as a base if we put them together like this.
They're so sticky.
Now you can sort of pinch the middle a little bit and put all 4 next to each other. And then you're going to take more spaghetti string, and it's really crunchy, but don't eat the ones you're going to use because they'll be different lengths. And you're going to stick them from the top of one to the top of the other. And Susan, if you could do your side.
Yep, I'm going to put my mask on because we're going to be close to each other.
Okay. And I'll put mine on too because the tower is getting all into one piece now.
Let me tell you, folks, it's so hot that even the spaghetti is sticking together, and we didn't even cook it.
So now we got to do 4. So 2 in the sides, in the front.
So we're making a square on top of your 4 cubic triangles. Oops.
And it is flimsy, so don't get frustrated. If you get frustrated, just eat another marshmallow.
When in doubt, eat a marshmallow.
Yeah, when in doubt, eat a marshmallow. So, we might have to get this one a little closer.
Or maybe we should put another marshmallow there. I think the marshmallows are melting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Don't breathe. Whoop.
So how is everybody doing? Do you need a minute to catch up?
Okay. So we've got a square on the top now. So 4 on the bottom and 1 on the top. And we're going to make a cubic triangle on this top. And we're going to hope that it holds. It did at home.
I'll bet it wasn't as hot.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And you can squish it to...
Do we have any bigger marshmallows?
we do.
If you want to use one of the bigger marshmallows for the top, it might hold it together a little better.
We can try it.
We can.
Good job, you guys. You're doing great. So we have the base of our pyramid.
It looks very strong.
Actually, it's, you know what? Now that we've pinched it together, it seems to be a little stronger.
All right.
Good. Okay, so now
All
we're
right.
going to put the 4 spaghetti strings in each corner and attach them in the center. So this one you might need help with too, because it is delicate, that's for sure. And we can try using a big one. All right, I'll hold this up while you do the corners. All right, and we'll get one more corner while we fix some of the falling pieces. I can hear him.
Can hear you. Ah,
Okay. Good. Good job, guys.
so there you go. You just built, or you are still building,
Your pyramid, triangle, tower,
your
right?
tower.
Good. And feel free to use the marshmallows. They're not really good probably for toasting, but you can use them for just eating. Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
Yeah. Well, I
How
don't know
about
that.
s'mores?
Cold chocolate. Make cold chocolate and put them in there. It'll taste just as good.
And if you have leftover materials and you'd like to make a different design, feel free. Do we have a place to upload pictures of the things they're doing? So,
Been getting a lot of pictures.
Great.
Appreciate it. Send them to, let me pull it up here because I don't remember. It is
FCCOE
VBS 2020.
at gmail.com. Send those pictures. We'd love to see them.
Yes, by all means.
You can do
eat your
that
tower.
too.
And,
They can eat their towers if they'd like.
or you can get your little miniature stuffed animals and there can be a little home for them. They can go inside.
Oh, there you go. All right, that's all we have for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this experiment. We can't wait to see you guys tomorrow.
Yep. And for tomorrow, feel free to look up some small items that you might want to put in your boat for float your boat.
Good night.
Good night.
Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1, H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1, H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1, H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1.
Boy, it's hot up here tonight. Well, welcome back to our Bible Faith Adventures at our virtual VBS. I sure wish I could see all of you, but I guess I'll just have to imagine all your beautiful eyes looking at me as we go on another adventure of faith. First, let's review a little about faith. Remember that the Bible says that faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance of what we do not see. That's just a fancy way of saying that faith is believing in what you know is true, even if you can't see it. We talked yesterday about oxygen. We can't see oxygen, but we know it's there. We have plenty of evidence. Scientists who study God's amazing creation have figured out how God uses oxygen to keep us alive. We breathe it in from the air, and air actually contains many different gases, not just oxygen. But God designed our lungs so that they can pick the oxygen out of all the other gases in the air and then put that oxygen to work. Our lungs can put it into our blood, and then our hearts send it all over our bodies to keep our insides nice and healthy. We would die if we didn't have oxygen. You can't see it, but you know it has to be there, or you wouldn't be here. We all believe in something that we can't see. Then we met a man of great faith. Do you remember him? Noah, the man who had so much faith in God that he obeyed God when he told Noah to do something that seemed not only ridiculous, but also impossible. Build a gigantic boat in the middle of nowhere and then fill it with animals of all kinds. People probably laughed at him and called him names, but he kept doing what God told him to do. Then the rains came, and came, and came, and came. Noah and his family and all those animals were the only survivors of a terrible flood that covered the whole earth. When it was over, God made a promise to Noah and to all of us. Never again will he destroy the entire earth with a flood. Do you remember the sign that God gave Noah? It was a beautiful rainbow. red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. And every time it appeared, God would remember his promise to Noah. Noah was a man of great faith. Today we're going to climb in that time machine of ours and go back in time again. But we're not going as far back as we did yesterday. Yesterday we went back way over 4,000 years. Today we're going just a little more than 3,000 years. But before we go, I wonder if any of you who were with us at VBS last year remember the stories about God's people, the Israelites, escaping from slavery in Egypt. Remember all the plagues that we threw at Pharaoh so we could get out of Egypt? The last day of VBS, we carried the Ark of the Covenant across the Jordan River, and God's people entered the land that God had promised them. Their leader, Moses, had died, and their new leader, Joshua, was strong and courageous. He obeyed God and was able to conquer the enemies of his people. But Joshua grew old, and just before he died, he warned the people that they needed to keep their promises to God. Worship and obey only God. Do not serve and worship false gods or idols, or God's anger would burn against them. If they kept their promise to God, Joshua assured them God would always keep his promise to fight for them and give them good things. Then Joshua finally died. Who was to lead the people of Israel now? Without a strong leader, it didn't take long before God's people began to forget their promises to him. They started worshiping those false gods of the people around them. I guess it looked like those people were having more fun than they were. And Joshua's warning came true. The Israelites began losing battles to their enemies. They were so used to winning all the time. But when they stopped worshiping their God, they started losing battles. They were in great distress, and they cried out to God. So God gave them judges. Not quite the same kind of as you think of with the robes on like Judge Judy, but sort of like that. These judges were people who urged the Israelites to stop worshiping idols. Then they would return to God, and that judge would lead them into battle, and God would help them win, and everything would be okay until that judge died. Then the whole thing started all over again. Worship idols, disobey God, get conquered by enemies, suffer greatly, cry out to God, get a new judge who brought them back to the one true God. This happened over and over again. If I were God, I think I would have given up on my people long ago. God has a lot more patience than I do, and he truly wants to have a loving relationship with his people. Now let's get in that time machine of ours and go back to meet one of those judges who obeyed God and led the people of Israel back to worshiping him. You hear the whirring of the time machine as we go back 3,000 years? Hello, I'm one of the judges that God has sent to save his people from their enemies. The people have once again disobeyed God, and Jabin, the king of our enemy, Canaan, has conquered our land and made us miserable for 20 long years. Jabin is pretty scary. His army has 900 chariots made of iron. These would sort of be like the army tanks of your time. His general, Sisera, had never lost a battle. The very thought of fighting against such power makes all our soldiers shake with fear. Our people have cried out to God to help them, and He has given me instructions. I know what to do. Oh, did I forget to introduce myself? My name is Deborah. Does it surprise you that God would choose a woman for such an important job as judge of Israel? It sure surprised me. I hear that in your time, women are allowed to do whatever they like. They can be doctors or construction workers or scientists or leaders. They can own businesses and be bosses. They can be in charge. But people in my time don't think much of women being in charge. It doesn't seem natural to them. Women should be at home taking care of the family and the house. So when I heard God saying that He wanted me to be the next judge of Israel, I couldn't believe it. Being a judge is hard. Our judges spend a lot of time settling disputes between people. They also remind the people of their promise to worship only God. They remind people of Joshua's warning to us to keep that promise, or there would be terrible consequences. They even lead our armies against our enemies. How could I do all that? Besides all those duties, God called me to be a prophetess as well as a judge. The job of a prophet is to speak God's word to the people and to speak to God on the people's behalf. At first I thought, this is just too much work. I'm just a woman. I have a husband and a family to care for. I have bread to bake and water to carry from the well and cloth to weave and sew and sheep and goats and chickens to tend and gardens to weed. I can't do this job. Furthermore, who's going to trust a woman to judge their disputes or tell them what God has said or lead them into battle? The men will just tell me to stop talking and go home and take care of my husband. But then something occurred to me. If God wanted me to do this, to be a judge and a prophet, He would surely help me. He wouldn't leave me all alone to figure things out all by myself. Obviously, God doesn't seem to care that I'm a woman. I am His creation, just like everyone else. He will use anyone who is willing to obey Him, no matter who they are. I decided that I believe God will lead me, give me the wisdom I need, and make the people respect me and listen to me. So I found a lovely palm tree, and I sat down in its lovely shade, and people began to come to me for help. At first, I just settled a few disputes, but God gave me the ability to decide wisely. Word began to spread that I was a good and fair judge, and more people came. Remember I told you that King Jabin had been making our lives pretty miserable for 20 years? Anytime our soldiers tried to fight against him, his general, Sisera, would send their iron chariots out, and our army was powerless. We had no defense to such strong weapons. I told the people that their lives were so terrible because they had disobeyed God and were worshiping idols. God was not on their side. They needed to admit they were sinning and ask God to forgive them and bless them again. Once they cried out to God for help, the most amazing thing happened. God told me to send for Barak, one of our generals, and have him gather an army of 10,000 men to fight against Sisera. Barak agreed, but he insisted that I go with him. He refused to go without me. Me, a woman, in battle. But I didn't hesitate. I agreed to go with him. But I warned him, because he did not seem to have faith in God unless I was with him. Barak is not going to get the credit for the victory God is about to give us. I told him that a woman would get the honor of capturing and getting rid of the fearsome general Sisera. He probably thought I was talking about myself. Off we went into the battle. Sisera came against us with his army and those iron chariots. It was downright scary. But God promised that we would win this battle, and sure enough, the Lord God went ahead of us, and all of Sisera's soldiers perished, iron chariots or no iron chariots. Sisera got down from his chariot and ran away. The mighty Sisera, who had never lost a battle, was on the run. He ended up in the tent of a woman named Jael. She gave him some milk and he fell asleep. Sisera was exhausted after the battle and he slept soundly. In the night, Jael crept into the tent and killed him in his sleep. Then she called Barak into the tent. And there, Barak, our mighty general, saw Sisera, the mighty general who had never lost a battle, killed by a woman. God had used both Jael and me, 2 women, to conquer Jabin, the king of our enemies, and free our people from the misery he had forced on us. After the victory, Barak and I sang a song that I wrote. The song tells the whole story of our battle. In the song, I gave God all the praise for the great victory we had won. And we have had peace in our land for 40 years. I hope you will all remember my story and don't let anything stop you from obeying God and having faith in him. Not fear of what others may think, not worry that you're not the right kind of person, not worry that you don't have the right stuff. Remember that God doesn't look at your skin color or how rich you are or how smart you are or what church you go to or whether you're a man or a woman. God looks at your heart. And when he sees faith there, he knows he can use you for his glory. Push that button and come back to 2020? Well, I sure enjoyed meeting Deborah, and I hope you did too. She was a great woman of faith. And I'll see you tomorrow for another Bible faith adventure. Good night.
No sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. 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 God made him who had no sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, so that in him we might become righteousness of God. The 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 righteousness of God.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sink or Float. So today we have an apple, we have maple syrup, and we have a sponge. So I think first we're going to do the apple. And, you know, the apple, it's kind of heavy. It's solid, so it could sink, or because it's so smooth, it could float. So again, if you think it's gonna sink, you sit down, and if you think it's gonna float, you stand up. So, so we are going to see what happens. I think I'm going to call that floating. Who knew? And so anybody who said it floated, you did a good job. So next, we're going to do the sponge. And you know, when I have to wash a dish by hand, the sponge kind of just floats on top of the water, but it also has holes so it can suck up water, and sometimes that makes it sink. So we'll see what happens with this one. It's floating. It definitely took on some water. So far we've had 2 things float tonight. All right. Now the fun one. Maple syrup. Not going to do a whole lot, but we'll do some. So I mean, this is Vermont pure maple syrup, so it's the really good stuff. So it could float because it's could react with the water and therefore make the molecules in the water separate from each other and have it float on top, or because it's kind of thick and gooey, it could just sink. So let's see what happens, shall we? It got eaten by the water, so it sank. So, of course, now So if you sat down, you got that one right. And so tonight we had two things float, where last night we only had one thing float. And we had one thing sink, where last night we had two things sink. It kind of makes me excited to see what happens tomorrow when we have 3 new items. See you then.
Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1, H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1, H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1, H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1.
Welcome back, and I know we just heard that fabulous song, but I'm gonna have you stand up. We're not dancing to this one again, I apologize. Some more technical problems, not a problem in this lab. We're gonna stand up and dance to the song you just heard.
Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1, H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1, H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1, H-E-B-R-E-W-S, though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1.
Thank you all so much for that. So today, our Bible verse is from John 3:8. We're having some little confusion with my slides, so just listen to me for a moment. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. And I'll fix the slide for tomorrow so you can see the wonderful verse. But you started off with science experiments with Eyedropper Debbie and Cylinder Sue, and I'm pretty sure you built something out of dry spaghetti and marshmallows. They looked pretty awesome. I think they were like the pyramids. And then with Bible Adventures and Volumetric Vicky, there was Deborah, who was a female judge, and she sat under this wonderful palm tree. And in Sink or Float, I have my scientific notes here. There was a Granny Smith apple that floated, sounds delicious, a sponge that floated, a little less delicious, and some maple syrup that sank, but still sounds delicious. And so, we've had a wonderful day, and just to wrap up with some reminders, we are looking for more God sightings because my flask, beaker, tube, scientific instrument here is really sad and empty. So if you see anything like the fireflies, the double rainbows, the sunsets, siblings and friends helping each other out, please email them to us, FCCOE-VBS2020@gmail.com by 5:30 tomorrow night so we can share them and I can fill my beaker flask scientific instrument thingy. We're also, our Kid to Kid mission, we want you guys to help the kids of the North Shore that are currently experiencing homelessness, either due to COVID or other reasons. It's through Family Promise, and if you go to our website, fccoe.org, you can donate, or if you want to mail in a check, please don't mail cash. Either way, we will gladly make sure that they get that money to help those families that are in need during this time. We also, I forgot to remind you, this is the one where my notes got messed up, slightly disorganized here, it's okay. If you get any pictures of what you're doing tonight and with us during these times, please send that to our email as well, fccoe-vbs2020@gmail.com. I'm just going to say that email because that's our best way to reach us. And your God sightings, any prayer requests, all of that. Please let us know. We loved hearing from you because we do miss seeing your faces here. But again, this keeps us all safe. That is all we have for you tonight. If you are going to end in a prayer again, if you don't mind, just closing your eyes, taking a moment to be still, and we're going to say a quick prayer. God, we thank you for another successful night where we got to learn about your power and how mighty you are, how much you care for us, though, and keep us calm through these storms. Jesus came and spoke words that calmed the storms as you calm our storms and you stay with us. I pray that you help all of these children see that power in glorious, beautiful ways over the next day, and that we all are able to return safely back here tomorrow, and that we all stay cool while we experience this heat wave. In your name we pray, amen. Thank you all, and have a good night.
Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse